So I think it's safe to say that Arsenal are one of the very few teams that possibly can take on Man City this season, and after tons of requests from you guys asking for an updated Arteta tactic video, today that's exactly what we're going to be doing. So if you do enjoy the tactics on this channel, be sure to leave a like, drop a little subscription, and hit that wonderful notification bell. But let's get into it. Firstly, break down the results, the most important part, and then we're going to talk tactics. But firstly, let's actually look at the league table, and we had a very good season. We really did. We played 38 games, we won 33, we drew 4, and only lost the 1 game, which is very annoying. That is going to be against Fulham as well, of all teams. To be fair, did finish in 5th place, but we definitely should be beating them, so nearly an invincible season. 103 points, quite convincing over Man City, only coming in, I say only, with 89. Of course, we need to look at the player stats, and that is going to be right here. So it is going to be Haaland, obviously coming in with a top goal scorer, which he usually does on any save, let's just be honest. Jesus coming in though with 29, a very close 2nd place there. Bukayo Saka coming in 2nd place with the highest average match rating with a 7.67. And in terms of assists, we're laughing all the way to the bank. Odegaard and Bukayo Saka contributing with 20 assists each. Absolutely incredible. Also, Aaron Ramsdale, 25 clean sheets. We were ridiculously defensively solid while testing. Not that it really matters, but we also won the Friendly Cup in a 4-2 win against Fenerbahce. We're not going to talk about the Carabao Cup, although it is against a good team, Manchester City, the team we're really battling against. They unfortunately won up us on this occasion in a 1-1 draw, but they do win on penalties. The FA Cup was close, but we did win it in a 1-0 win against Tottenham Hotspur. A very sweet win there. Community Shield, again, unfortunately, Man City seem to be too strong. I never usually count this too much, though, because it is at the start of the season. Anyone can win it. And I probably should have covered this first, but we did also win the Champions League and a 3-2 win against Napoli. It was one hell of a final. Obviously, Napoli never come a mess about to these games, so we were expected to concede at least a goal, and we actually went, by the looks of it, 2-0 down against this Napoli team. So the grit we had, I did switch to the attack and variant, so this is why I do suggest you download all 3 if you're a Patreon member. If not, you can obviously simply copy and paste it, and that is what you want to be doing, because I switched to it at this point, and just look at the impact. I mean, the change was absolutely incredible. Odegaard bounced back relatively quickly after that 2nd goal from Napoli coming in the 38th minute. Bukayo Saka, the star man of the season, causing all sorts of danger on the right-hand side. A little bit lucky with a deflection there, but we do actually tie the game just before, or just after half-time, should I say. And the winner does come here, actually. In the 52nd minute, Martinelli picks up the ball, drives at the back line, takes on everybody. Dominance. The league stats look really attractive as well. 2.71 points per game. Most goals at 120. Practically what is over 30 compared to Man City. Most shots at 969. Fewer shots against coming in at 253. Most possession, 60%. We're not going to complain at that at all. And also really defensively solid. 26 clean sheets and only 15 conceded. Those are going to be the key results. It's now time to break down the tactic. And of course, we're going to start off by going over the player roles. It is going to be based off your average 4-3-3, but it does play quite uniquely, so definitely get on board with this tactic, guys, especially if you are an Arsenal fan. We're going to kick things off then with the player instructions. That is going to be a sweeper keeper on support on the default instructions. I feel like this role really matches Aaron Ramsdale as he is as a player. It's going to be interesting though. They have got a new goalkeeper. Is Ramsdale eventually going to be the 2nd choice? Let me know in the comments. The wing back on the right is going to be on support on the default instructions, essentially because he does exactly everything I want him to be doing anyway, so therefore there's no need to add anything to him. Next to him, we have a ball playing defender on the right on the defensive instructions, and exactly the same for the partner next to him, so that is 2 ball-playing defenders, which in my opinion is how Arsenal do definitely line up. In terms of the left back, we're going to have a wing back on support. Now you can go with an inverted wing back, and honestly I probably would to 100% replicate Arteta's style, but in my opinion, just the way FM works, I'm going to be honest with you guys, always am, the wing back on support on sit narrower just works a lot better in my opinion, so we've gone down that approach, but this is one area you can change dependent on what you sort of prefer to do. Moving upwards to the midfield, we're going to have a DM on support on the default instructions. Now you might be thinking, what are you doing? Why have you got nothing on? And that's because we don't need anything on. He plays really well. He just sits in that pocket of space there. He defends really well. He links up with the other 2 midfield players really well. And he just does a golden job there. So sometimes less is more. And this is definitely one of those occasions. Next to him, we have a box-to-box midfield player on support, and he is going to be on get further forwards. This player plays such a crucial role. Obviously, that is going to be Declan Rice, their new man, going to be fulfilling this position. And his job essentially is to get up and attack and also get get back and defend, but because we have this DM here and quite a defensive back four anyway, I allow him to get further forwards to really penetrate and cause issues to that opposition. Next to him, we have the advanced playmaker on attack, on roam from position, and this is a perfect indicator of how Odegaard is going to line up, and obviously one of the most influential players in this Arsenal team, and creates very good chances for that front three, and just an absolute baller. If we're honest, whoever you support, we can all get on the same page. And honestly, this three here is potentially the best midfield three I've ever used in terms of getting player roles to really sync well with each other, so I would recommend, unless you for some reason can't facilitate having these player roles, just stick to them because they work really, really well. Going up the field though, and probably where the main attraction is the front three, where the goals get scored, we're going to have an inside forward on the left-hand side, simply on stay wider. The rest is going to be on the default instructions, and that's because they do exactly what I want him to be doing. Cutting inside, taking some more risks, get further forwards. It's exactly what I want. Obviously, on Martinelli, you could have shoot more often on, which we are going to have on in the attack and variant. A little spoiler, but on the default, I want him to be a little bit more sort of disciplined in that regard. And on the right-hand side, it's going to be exactly the same. So nice and simple to follow along with, and they work really, really well. And to finish it off, a deep line forward on attack, holding up the ball, moving into channels, really being a link-up player. Jesus plays it really, really well when he's fit, and it's going to be a real good sort of, it's a really good indicator. I want to see how well Arsenal do this season, because the addition of Declan Rice is a massive change to that midfield, and I'm really excited to see how they do, but really, these player roles are really, really good. In terms of the team instructions, it is going to be based off the pressing style, by the way, and a positive mentality. We're going to have fairly wide, playing out from the back is a necessity, shorter passing directness with a slightly higher tempo. The great thing about this tactic is it's not as strenuous as other tactics are on your players. Yes, it's a slightly higher tempo. Obviously, it could be lower, and then it would be really friendly on your players, but it's not maxed out, so you are going to be able to play a lot of the same players every single game if you've got your training set up correctly. And obviously, just make sure you've got depth in case that's not the situation, but it really is a great way of playing, and a slightly higher tempo for me is exactly how Arsenal would sort of play in real life. In transition, we're going to have counter press and counter on. Don't get me wrong, Arsenal can play some really good liquid football, but they've got rapid wingers, and why not use them? Martinelli, Saka, run on any backline is going to make defenders absolutely shiver, so having this instruction on is a key one in my opinion. We're going to distribute to the centre-backs while taking short goal kicks also. Now, in terms of the out of possession tab, we're going to rock the standard defensive line, the high press and line of engagement, much more often, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and also get stuck in. And I cannot stress how good this standard defensive line was. It might be a nice mixture of how the player roles are set up, the defensive quality we have, but the standard line plays a big part in how defensively solid we were. 0.39 conceded. Obviously, we had good possession, so we also had the ball a lot, but good pass completion as well, a great tackle win ratio. Honestly, that standard line with this Arsenal team is really the key. Of course, we have now got two other variants to go over. I do want to quickly thank all of the names coming down the screen. These are going to be new or existing Patreon members. Patreon is a great way to support me as a creator, but also you get some really cool perks yourselves, including access to all three of these wonderful files in one simple download. You get early video and tactic release, priority in your rebuild and tactic requests, one-on-one tactic help, and access to the exclusive Patreon giveaways, which is going to include 2 to 3 copies of FM23 and some other goodies in there. So do check it out. The link is in the description. But let's go ahead and talk some more tactics. So, over to the attack and variant. The people that love goals, you're going to love it. Trust me, the player roles are going to be a couple of changes coming in, as you can probably imagine. So, the wing-backs are going to be a little bit different. So, on the right-hand side, we've got a wing-back on support, on dribble more, and also stay wider now. On the left-hand side, sit narrower, and also take more risks. Going over to the midfield, a deep line playmaker does come in, and this can come down to your preference. Just for me, a deep line playmaker is a lot more progressive with his passes, and it works really well in this system. So for me, if you've got a player capable, definitely deploy this. The box-to-box is simply now on dribble more, get further forwards and move into channels. So essentially, all we've done he's made this player a lot more of a free roaming player. He can sort of have the license to go even further forwards now, move into channels and cause all sorts of issues. The advanced playmaker obviously remains on attack, on get further forwards while roaming from his position, and this is where the change comes in. The right-hand side does remain the same, but the left-hand side, I did briefly mention it, we're going to have Martinelli now cutting in and shooting more often, because he does do this, and he works really, really well doing that inside of the game. And last, but definitely not least, it's more of a meta change in terms of getting more goals out of the FM match engine. That is going to be the advanced forward does come in simply on moving to channels. In terms of the team instructions, then it is going to be an attacker mentality, so it does work its way up from positive to attacking. The width is going to remain exactly the same. In terms of this little area here, the only change is going to be the overlap on the right. Very important, really getting your right back of choice in, whether that be Tomiyasu, Ben White, whoever you wish to get involved. He is going to be really good making overlap and runs. Remaining is going to be the shorter directness, the slightly higher tempo. The one other change is going to be quite a big change, being more expressive, letting the players really express themselves, attack, you know, just cause issues. That's all I want. In terms of the transition tab, a lot of the videos you are going to see this, there's only so much you can really change, and in this occasion the only change is going to be distribute quickly. And in terms of the out of possession, guys, I didn't even rock the higher line because standard genuinely works so well, so it actually is going to look exactly the same, I believe. The high press, the standard line, much more often, getting stuck in, preventing the short goalkeeper distribution, because naturally it scores goals, so there's no real need to commit to that higher line unless you are literally in the last 5 or 10 minutes of the game and you are desperate for a goal. We've gone over the normal, we've gone over attacking, now onto the defensive variant, and again there are going to be changes, and sometimes that is a good thing also. So we are going to rock off with a deep line forward on support on the default instruction, so a complete reverse from the advanced forward in the attacking variant. We've now got a more defensive striker that is simply going to aim to hold up the ball and still play the ball through to these still attacking inside forwards, which are going to be on the exact same instructions as the default. Going over to the midfield, we're going to have a central midfield player now on support, simply on dribble less, a very resilient and calm option to have in that midfield three. A box to box is going to be simply on the default instructions. A DM comes in on defend, on tackle harder. Thomas Partey is a great role to have in, or great player to have in this role, shall I say. Nearly muddled up the words there. In terms of the back four, we're going to have a wing back, exactly the same, and also on the right hand side exactly the same. So it does take a lot more of a sort of supportive approach, I would say. Obviously players do drop down a little bit. Very important you keep the wingers still on attack, because they're going to be your main outlet if you are successful to hit on a break, for example. And I'm a big advocate of not completely shutting up shop all the time. At least have one, if not two players still willing to go forward and create chances. In terms of the team instructions though, guys, the mentality is now going to drop down to balance. So probably the most negative sort of way we're going to look at this team today. It's going to be the same width. We're still going to be playing out from the back. Shorter passing directness is going to be on, but now we have lowered the tempo. And why we've done that is because when we've actually got the ball as well, we're going to be dribbling less. So you probably guessed the theme we're going down. We're now going down a more possession-based theme, but we're not going to run at the opposition too much. We're going to hold on to the ball when we've got it, because we've got the talent to do so, and this 4-3-3 holds on to the ball so well. The three in midfield link up really well, and obviously, you know, it just is a great way to also run the clock down, to put it bluntly. Transition, there are going to be two changes. Those are going to be, when possession has been won, nothing is going to be selected. I don't want to counter, neither do I want to be sort of restraint and hold shape, so it's going to simply leave it unselected, and we're also going to have slow pace down. Out of possession, there are going to be a couple of changes. The line remains the same, the high pressing remains the same in terms of the line, but the more often is now going to be set to one bar down, so instead of being maxed out, simply set to more often and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. And we've also decided on this occasion to remove get stuck in. But that is going to give you guys 3 fantastic variants for the Arsenal fans or any fans of 4-3-3s. You surely would have loved this video. If you have, be sure to leave a like, drop a little subscription below, and hit that wonderful notification bell so you never miss another upload. We've got all types of content coming to you now. We've got Wonder Kid videos, tactics, rebuilds. Drop a comment on whatever you want to see. I'll be sure to get it done. But enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.